integration, meditation in action. I have found that modern spiritual practitioners lack the tips on how to integrate their meditation practice with everyday life. I cannot say it strongly enough. To integrate meditation in action is the whole ground and point and purpose of meditation. That is, to apply meditation in everyday life. The violence and stress, the challenges and distractions of modern life make this integration even more urgently necessary. People complain to me, I have meditated for 12 years, but somehow I haven't changed. I am still the same. Why? Because there is an abyss between their spiritual practice and their everyday life. They seem to exist in two separate worlds, which do not inspire each other at all. How, then, do we achieve this integration, this permeation of everyday life with the calm humour and spacious detachment of meditation? There is no substitute for regular practice, for only through real practice will we begin to taste unbrokenly the calm of our nature of mind, and so be able to sustain the experience of it in our everyday life. That is, you must first be able to be mindful and calm during meditation. If your mind is full of wandering thoughts or is drowsy, without mindfulness even during meditation, then you definitely won't have mindfulness in your daily life. First, we need to engage in regular meditation practice. This gives rise to an effect similar to the cause, therefore habituating ourselves with it naturally. Hence, in daily life, our mindfulness will spontaneously arise. I always tell my students not to come out of meditation, sitting, too quickly. Allow a period of some minutes. When you leave the cushion, don't immediately let your mind run away. When the meditation bell sounds, which signals the end of the meditation session, don't immediately talk or ponder. Instead, stay seated for a few more minutes. For the peace of the practice of meditation to infiltrate your life. Here is a transition from meditation to daily life. Take a few minutes to allow your mind to keep the meditative experience and feeling, and then gradually resume your daily life. As my master Dajom Rinpoche said, don't jump up and rush off, but mingle your mindfulness with everyday life. The method that our teacher teaches us is as follows. Suppose you are going to work. When you wake up in the morning, you should first bring up mindfulness and then brush your teeth and wash your face. Before you drive out, take a minute or two to cut off your wandering thoughts. Bring up mindfulness and then start to drive, ride or walk. Similarly, when you sit down at your office desk, take 3 to 5 minutes to cut off your wandering thoughts. Cultivate mindfulness, meditate on non-self, generate bodhicitta, or take deep breaths to let go of some attachments, and then begin your work. That is, before doing anything, you can do this warm-up, even if it's just half a minute or 3 minutes. This is an empirical method taught by our teacher. By doing so, you can gradually bring the realization gained through meditation into your daily life. That is, bring up your mindfulness before engaging in any activities. No matter what you are working on, as long as you are allowed to take a brief break, a time when you can relax without thinking or doing anything, that's when you can start meditating. This applies to any situation. For example, after completing a task, you can meditate for a short while, perhaps for 1 or 2 minutes. With this habit, your meditation and work will be gradually integrated. Be like a man who's fractured his skull, always careful in case someone will touch him. That is, always be alert and vigilant. This is how a spiritual practitioner practices in daily life. They are very alert and careful so as not to lose their mindfulness. Some people have lost mindfulness for a long while, yet still haven't noticed. This indicates that they haven't even started their spiritual journey. Or, after meditation, your mind may be still immersed in the 8 worldly concerns, just as before. In such cases, even if you practice for 10 or more years, you will not make significant progress, because once you return to daily life, all your worldly habits emerge, such as arrogant speech, harshness, or jealousy. Then, after meditation, it's important not to give in to the tendency we have to solidify the way we perceive things. This refers to the habit we just mentioned. Because you tend to solidify things, fixed beliefs, fixed habits. When you see something, you may naturally have a reaction, an emotion, and this emotion is exactly a solidified emotion. Some people tend to be gloomy. Some tend to be jealous. Some are greedy, craving anything they come across. These are solidified habits. When you do re-enter everyday life, let the wisdom, insight, compassion, humour, fluidity, spaciousness and detachment that meditation brought you pervade your day-to-day experience. This clearly states that meditation will bring about wisdom, insight, compassion, humour, fluidity, spaciousness and detachment. This is a prerequisite. If you haven't experienced these during meditation, then it's even more impossible for you to experience them in your daily life. So, we need to learn how to do so. What kind of experiences and signs do you have during meditation? When you meditate, if you lack the wisdom of non-self, compassion, humour, if you are not very obsessed with or attached to anything, you will have a humorous state of mind. Also, fluidity and spaciousness. If these states of mind or experiences arise during your meditation, then gradually you will naturally experience them in daily life. Meditation awakens in you the realization of how the nature of everything is illusory and dreamlike. The first thing is to realize that the true nature of everything is dreamlike and illusory. Maintain that awareness even in the thick of samsara. Maintain your awareness in the ocean of samsara. With wisdom, you can maintain a humorous state of mind when facing anything, even death. When death approaches, if you can still face it with a humorous attitude, it indicates that you are not ordinary. You may have already seen through life and death, or even transcended life and death through meditation. Thus, you can face death with a sense of humour. A Zen master in the past was like this. Before passing away, he did a handstand. This is also a sense of humour. By doing a handstand, he was telling the world, "Look how upside down you are." Yet he didn't explicitly say it. Instead, he expressed it through passing away in a handstand. Not to mention passing away while doing a handstand, even passing away while standing is difficult enough. Even if you are able to pass away while sitting, it shows your spiritual attainment. people usually pass away while lying down. The situations of passing away while lying down also vary. With the lion's posture, like Buddha, one can pass away in peace, whereas ordinary people usually pass away while lying flat in pain. It's pathetic. We should practice diligently. If you still don't practice when thinking of the moment of death, you are very ignorant. Everyone is bound to die. How long can you live? One great master has said, after meditation practice, one should become a child of illusion. You feel that everything about yourself is illusory. Your body, sensations, thoughts, and actions are all illusions. You become a child of illusion. You feel that all your 5 aggregates are illusory, without a self. That's a wonderful feeling. When you have this feeling after meditation, your practice is going well. You feel that your 5 aggregates are like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows. You have realized their emptiness as well as the illusory nature of your body. You can meditate in this way. Your physical body is illusory, like a dream. Similarly, your aggregate of sensations, feelings, as well as the aggregates of perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are all illusory, like dreams, illusions, bubbles, and shadows. The best way to experience the illusory nature of things is through visual consciousness. When you close your eyes, you don't see anything, and therefore nothing seems to exist. When you open your eyes, everything appears immediately. Hence, what you see is actually generated by your visual consciousness. Why is it that when our eyes are closed, there are no objects generated, but when they are open, objects arise? This is because once light enters our eyes, our minds have the function to discern it, forming different objects and generating various images. Our eyes have a very high resolution, able to differentiate even slight differences. Therefore, they can clearly discern various things and generate visual objects. The same applies to sound. For example, when you play a recorder, what comes out are certainly sound waves. However, once these sound waves enter your ears, you turn them into sound, into music. It's your auditory consciousness that turns them into music. In reality, there isn't any music in the recorder. Only electromagnetic waves are radiated. Be it a recorder or a radio, it's just a machine. How could it speak? It merely emits sound waves. It is your own auditory faculty and consciousness that turn them into sound and music. Isn't this illusory? This is exactly an illusion. You create them as if in a dream. This is an easy way to understand the illusory nature of things, that is, to meditate on the 5 consciousnesses of the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body, as well as the mind consciousness. Meditating on the illusory nature of the aggregate of consciousness is the easiest. In regard to the physical body, it is a bit more challenging. The physical body is flesh, so it's relatively difficult to perceive it as dreamlike and illusory. Because our sense of it is too vivid, flesh can be consumed, and when cooked, it even has a taste. How can it be dreamlike and illusory? In fact, eating is also a kind of sensation. When you eat, it's a sense of taste, which is discerned by your tongue. This is also an illusion. Without the 6 consciousnesses, you wouldn't be able to perceive the aggregate of form, In particular, the nose consciousness senses odours, the tongue consciousness tastes flavours, and the body consciousness, the sensation of the body, experiences pain, pleasure, cold, and heat. The sensation of the body is actually a kind of discernment, like illusions. However, we tend to perceive this illusion as real, believing that the physical body truly exists. In reality, the physical body is like an illusion. We need to take our time to meditate on this. How do we exactly perceive the existence of forms? Without the six consciousnesses, we cannot perceive forms. This demonstrates that the aggregate of form is also illusory. But even so, humorously, you go on doing things. Humour is the state of mind that is relaxed and free from attachments. For example, if you are walking, without unnecessary solemnity or self-consciousness, light-heartedly walk toward the open space of truth. You can meditate in this way while walking. When you sit, be the stronghold of truth. As you eat, feed your negativities and illusions into the belly of emptiness, dissolving them into all-pervading space. And when you go to the toilet, consider all your obscurations and blockages are being cleansed and washed away. Everything is created by the mind. When you meditate in this way, it's effective. Don't think, is this just daydreaming? Does it work? In reality, it does. Even if you are daydreaming, it still creates karma and will bring about consequences. If you meditate in this way, it will yield the corresponding result. So what really matters is not just the practice of sitting, but far more the state of mind you find yourself in after meditation. Meditation is about using the right method to cultivate mindfulness and contemplation. So, what state of mind will you attain? After you engage in mindfulness practice, the corresponding state of mind will certainly arise. It is this calm and centered state of mind you should prolong through everything you do. Because if your mindfulness practice goes well, such state of mind will naturally continue without being forced. It will naturally flow in this way, and the dreamlike and illusory state of mind can be maintained. As long as you continuously meditate with the right method, you will naturally maintain the state of mind, as it has a continuity. Don't exert too much effort, and don't keep thinking of maintain it, keep it. Attachment is never right. Just use the right method and the result will naturally arise. Don't be too attached to the result. I like the Zen story in which the disciple asked his master, "Master, how do you put enlightenment into action? How do you practice it in everyday life?" "By eating and by sleeping," replied the master. "But master, everybody sleeps and everybody eats." "But not everybody eats when they eat, and not everybody sleeps when they sleep." Ordinary beings are like this. When they eat, they are picky, discriminating which is tasty and which isn't. When they sleep, they are entangled in chaotic dreams. This shows their strong attachment and discrimination. Some people are fine with any food available, even if it doesn't taste good. As spiritual practitioners, no matter what food is provided, whether it is tasty or not, we should be able to eat normally without discrimination, vexation, or aversion. Let's first achieve this goal. Maintain a good state of mind while eating anything. When we sleep, we should try not to be caught in chaotic dreams. This is difficult because once you fall asleep, you cannot control your dreams. Therefore, during daytime, we should practice more, be content with fewer desires, and diligently repent to eliminate our negative karma and stay away from mental distractions. By doing so, you won't be caught in chaotic dreams when you sleep. This is not easy to achieve. The state of the Zen master, when I eat, I eat, when I sleep, is very high. And if you really wish to achieve this, what you need to do is not just practice as if it were an occasional medicine or therapy, but as if it were your daily sustenance or food. Food sustains your life. In other words, at this stage, spiritual practice is as important as food. Without food, you cannot survive. Similarly, without spiritual practice, you cannot move on. That is why one excellent way to develop this power of integration is to practice it in a retreat environment, far from the stresses of modern city life. In the beginning, you need to spend a long period of time practicing in a tranquil environment to let the state of mind continue during meditation. Then you may maintain this state of mind while living a simple life. Finally, you can gradually test and elevate your state of mind in the modern city environment. All too often, people come to meditation in the hope of extraordinary results, like visions, light, or some supernatural miracle. When no such thing occurs, they feel extremely disappointed. But the real miracle of meditation is more ordinary and much more useful. It is a subtle transformation, and this transformation happens not only in your mind and your emotions, but also actually in your body. Your body has begun to transform. When people come here to study Buddhism, many of them initially look stiff, tense, or even distressed, wearing a bitter melon face, which shows they are unhappy. However, after some time, they become more relaxed and even start smiling with peaceful and joyous gaze and brighter skin. Indeed, many practitioners' skin becomes brighter. This is certainly true and especially noticeable among female practitioners. They look fairer and younger. These are the effects on the body. The effects on the mind are even more. You will become joyful, optimistic, broad-minded, open-minded, forgiving, wise, compassionate, and more. Such changes will definitely happen to you and will quickly manifest in your body. If you have an illness, it will surely alleviate or even completely disappear. If you are healthy, you will become even healthier and look even better. It is very healing. Dharma is very healing. Buddha said that meditation can heal more than 400 types of illnesses. Scientists and doctors have discovered that when you are in a good humor, then even the cells in your body are more joyful. And when your mind is in a more negative state, then your cells can become malignant. The whole state of your health has a lot to do with your state of mind and your way of being. This was discovered by scientists and doctors. It is quite normal. Therefore, when some people fall ill, I directly tell them, you must have been prone to keep anger inside, or scold others, or create negative verbal karma. Some people are impatient, bad-tempered, or tend to keep anger inside. They either express it outwardly or suppress it inwardly, but are more or less the same. They are all prone to anger. People who become ill often have a narrow mind and get angry on even the slightest matter. They tend to be egocentric, unwilling to forgive others, and harsh on others. Thus, they are prone to anger. If someone says something unpleasant and you get angry, it is because you are harsh on them and don't tolerate them speaking like that. You are being narrow-minded. Meditation is healing. If you have faith in the Dharma, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then meditation, prostration, sutra chanting and mantra chanting are all healing. There are many such cases. To live a long and healthy life, the key is to be content with fewer desires. Diet is secondary. The fundamental is to be content with fewer desires, which leads to health and longevity. Those who are kind and content with fewer desires tend to have a longer lifespan. This is called Renze. In Chinese, Ren means kindness. A kind person is unwilling to and will not harm others. Even when harmed, they are not prone to get angry, but are more inclined to forgive. This is a simple life principle that everyone knows.